Jake Miller stood outside the massive crystal building of Celestial Academy, his stomach tight with worry. Earth had only joined the Galactic Federation 3 months ago, and now he was the first human student to attend school on planet Zorax. The air here smelled different, like metal and sweet flowers. The 2 suns in the sky made everything look too bright and cast double shadows behind him. Jake took a deep breath and walked through the entrance. The inside of the school was even stranger. Then the outside corridors seemed to shift and move. Lights floated in the air without any visible source. Alien students of different shapes, sizes, and colors moved around him. Some had multiple limbs. Others hovered above the ground instead of walking. Many stopped to stare at him. A tall, blue-skinned woman approached Jake. Her silver hair moved as if underwater even though there was no wind. Her eyes were completely white with no pupils. "You must be the human exchange student," she said. Her voice sounded like several people talking at once. "I am Ms. Kalina, your main teacher. Welcome to Celestial Academy." "Thank you," Jake managed to say. His voice sounded small and weak compared to Herzem's. Kalina led Jake through the shifting corridors, explaining things as they went. The school had been founded 5,000 years ago. It specialized in science, technology, and cultural studies. Students from 50 different planets attended classes here. "We are very excited to have our first Earth student." She told him humans are quite new to the galactic community. "Your species has much to learn, but also much to teach us." They stopped outside a door made of what looked like flowing water, but somehow remained solid. "This is your classroom," Ms. Kalina said. "Most of your classmates are female, as many species in this sector have population imbalances. Do not be concerned. They are all friendly." Jake swallowed hard. Ms. Kalina touched the water door and it dissolved away, revealing a classroom inside 20. Alien girls turned to look at him. Their appearance varied wildly. Some had extra limbs, others had skin that changed colors as they moved. One appeared to be made entirely of crystal that sparkled in the light. "Come in, human mims," Kalina said gently. "The other students will not harm you." Jake stepped into the classroom feeling 20 pairs of strange eyes watching his every move. The air smelled like cinnamon and metal. He clutched his tablet tighter as he walked to the only empty desk in the room. "This is Jake Miller from Earth. He will join our biology studies class today. Please make him welcome," announced Miss Kalina. Girl with purple skin and small twitching antennae leaned toward him. Her name tag read Alicia, though Jake doubted that was her real alien name. "So you breathe oxygen?" she whispered, her voice musical like wind chimes. "Is it true humans only have 2 arms?" Jake nodded, not sure what to say. The girl next to Alicia had green scales instead of skin, and wore what looked like a water tank around her neck. Her name tag read, "Beth, I need moisture to keep my scales healthy," Beth explained, noticing Jake staring at her tank. "My homeworld is mostly ocean M's." Kalina began talking about cellular structures, showing images of different species cells on the floating screen. Jake tried to pay attention but found himself distracted by the subtle movements around him. Beth occasionally sprayed mist on her scales. Alicia's antennae twitched whenever Ms. Kalina said something important. A girl named Tina at the back had 6 arms and was taking notes with all of them simultaneously. When Ms. Kalina showed human cells on the screen, all the alien girls made sounds of interest. "Such simple structures," one girl said. Her skin glowed with patterns of light that shifted as she spoke. "Yet they developed space travel," added another who seemed to be made of living stone. Her voice rumbled like distant thunder. Jake felt his face grow warm with embarrassment. Humans were clearly considered primitive here. "The human cellular structure is less complex but highly adaptable," Ms. Kalina explained. "Earth has extreme environmental variations which created unique evolutionary pressures." Jake felt slightly better at her words. At least the teacher seemed to respect human biology. After class ended, Ms. Kalina asked Jake to stay behind. The alien girls filed out some, giving him curious glances as they left. "How was your first lesson?" she asked. "Different," Jake admitted, "but interesting. I have a lot to learn, Ems." Kalina's white eyes seemed to soften. "You will adjust, Earth boy. It takes time, but you will find your place here. The Federation needs humans who understand galactic society. Your presence here is important. Jake nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. He wasn't just a student, he was representing all of humanity. Your next class is Cultural Studies, Ms. Kalina continued. You will meet Teacher Zorn. He appears frightening to many species, but is very knowledgeable. Jake wondered what could be frightening in a school of aliens, but decided not to ask Ms. Kalina, guided him to another classroom. This door looked like it was made of smoke. Be respectful, but do not show fear, Ms. Kalina advised before leaving Jake alone. Jake touched the smoke door. It parted like curtains, revealing his next classroom. This room was darker, with strange glowing symbols floating in the air. The students already seated were the same girls from his previous class. They watched as Jake entered. The teacher had not yet arrived. A girl with skin like polished copper waved at Jake. Her name tag read Carol. Come sit here, Earth Boy, she called, patting the empty seat beside her. Jake walked over, feeling grateful. Alicia and Beth sat nearby. All three smiled at him in their alien ways. We have questions about Earth, Carol said, her copper skin reflecting the light of the floating symbols. Many questions. Jake sat down and began to feel that maybe this strange school wasn't so bad after all. The classroom fell silent as the teacher entered. Jake understood immediately why Miss Kalina had warned him. Teacher Zorn was enormous, at least 9 feet tall. His body appeared to be made of shadow and smoke, with 6 glowing red eyes, floating where his head should be. Long tendrils of darkness trailed behind him like a cloak. Good cycle, students, Teacher Zorn said. His voice echoed as if coming from everywhere at once. I see our human student has joined us. The red eyes focused on Jake, who tried not to show fear as Miss Kalina had advised. Welcome, Earthchild, Teacher Zorn continued. Today we discuss cultural greetings across species, a timely topic for our new arrival. One tendril of shadow extended toward Jake, stopping just before touching him. Humans shake hands as greeting correct? Teacher Zorn asked. Yes, sir, Jake replied, his voice steadier than he expected. Explain this custom to the class. Jake stood, feeling all eyes on him. In human culture, we shake hands to show we are not holding weapons. It started as a peace gesture and became tradition. A ripple of musical sounds passed through the alien girls. Jake realized they were laughing. How primitive, Carol whispered. Though not unkindly. Teacher Zorn's eyes glowed brighter. Not primitive. Practical. Every species begins somewhere. Today's lesson, we learn greetings from all your worlds. Each will demonstrate, then teach our human friend. For the next hour, Jake watched as each alien girl demonstrated her species greeting. Alicia touched antennae and made a humming sound. Beth sprayed a specific pattern of mist. Carol pressed her copper forehead against his arm, leaving a warm sensation. Tina, with her 6 arms, performed a complex series of hand movements. Jake tried to copy each greeting, sometimes succeeding, sometimes failing terribly. When he accidentally sprayed mist in the wrong pattern while greeting Beth, all the alien girls burst into musical laughter. Even Teacher Zorn's shadow form seemed to ripple with amusement. You said, water is peaceful. Not that you wish to mate with my entire family, Beth explained once she stopped laughing. Jake's face burned with embarrassment. I am sorry. Do not worry, Beth assured him, tapping his arm with one scaled finger. Even hatchlings make this mistake. By the end of the class, Jake had learned 20 different alien greetings. His head spun with information, but he felt proud for trying. For homework, Teacher Zorn announced, you will teach our human one custom from your world. Something small but meaningful and human. You will teach each student one Earth custom. The alien girls looked excited at this assignment. Their eyes, of various shapes, sizes, and colors, all turned to Jake with interest. After class, it was time for the meal break. Jake stood uncertainly in the large crystal dome that served as the school eating area. Alien students sat in groups talking, eating strange foods that glowed, changed colors, or moved on their plates. Jake had brought his own lunch from the human embassy, unsure if he could eat alien food. Jake sat alone at an empty table until Alicia appeared with her food tray. Can I join you, Earth Boy? She asked. Her tray held what looked like glowing blue cubes and something that resembled purple spaghetti. Sure, Jake replied, relieved not to be alone. Soon Beth joined them, then a girl named Kate who had transparent skin through which Jake could see her heart beating and her 3 lungs expanding. Carol came too. Her copper skin reflecting the light from overhead is it true humans can only see 3 colors, Alicia asked. Taking a bite of her glowing food, we see lots of colors. Jake replied confused. Kate made a sound like bells ringing. We see 17 color spectrums, she explained. Your species is quite limited, yet fascinating. Jake felt his face grow warm. The alien girls were studying him as if he were an interesting specimen. Our teachers told us not to overwhelm you with questions, Beth said, spraying a bit of mist on her scales. But we are curious. We have only seen humans in data files. What do you want to know? Jake asked, finding courage. He was their first human just as they were his first aliens. Everything, Carol said, her copper skin flickering with patterns of light that seemed to express excitement. Do you really sleep for 8 hours every cycle? Are humans really born knowing nothing? Do you really only have one heart? Jake laughed. That would take days to answer. But yes, we sleep about 8 hours. We are born without knowledge. And we only have one heart. Kate leaned forward, her transparent organs shifting with her movement. How do you survive with only one heart? Very carefully. Jake joked. The alien girls made their musical laughing sounds. The ice was broken. Jake began explaining human biology, answering their questions about Earth. While they ate, Jake learned about their worlds too. Alicia came from a planet with low gravity, which explained her delicate build. Beth's ocean world had almost no land. Kate's people lived in crystal caves. Deep underground, Carol's copper-skinned species evolved under a red sun that made metal part of their biology. After lunch, they had physical education. The teacher, a 4-armed woman with orange skin, announced they would be playing gravitational ball, a game Jake had never heard of. The class moved to an enormous circular room. The floor, walls, and ceiling were padded. The teacher activated something on her wrist and suddenly gravity changed. Jake felt himself become lighter. Kate touched Jake's arm gently. Her skin felt cool and slightly electric. Stay close to me. This game can be dangerous for beings unused to gravity manipulation. Jake soon understood what she meant. The alien girls could somehow control their personal gravity fields, moving in ways that defied physics. They floated, jumped 20 feet high, and ran along walls. Beth moved like water flowing upward. Alicia seemed to disappear and reappear. The ball itself changed size and weight as it moved. Jake struggled to keep up. His human limitations became painfully obvious when he tried to jump after the ball and crashed to the ground. The reduced gravity made his movements unpredictable. The girls stopped playing. Kate floated down beside him, her transparent skin flushing, pink with concern. Are you damaged? She asked. Just embarrassed, Jake admitted. Alicia landed gracefully next to them. Her antennae curved forward with interest. You cannot manipulate gravity fields. Jake shook his head, feeling completely out of place. The physical education teacher approached, hovering slightly above the floor. Humans have not evolved with gravitational control, she observed. Every species has different abilities. This is why we play different games. Beth sprayed some mist on her scales and suggested, we need to adjust the game for human capabilities. To Jake's surprise, the alien girls modified their game, creating new rules that didn't require gravity manipulation. They played together, laughing when Jake taught them a human version of basketball that worked in the low-gravity environment. By the end of physical education, Jake was tired but happy. He had made friends. His first day at alien school was turning out better than he had feared. The afternoon brought mathematics class. Jake had always been good at math on Earth, and hoped this would be an area where he could shine. The teacher was a spherical being that floated in the air, changing colors as she spoke. Her name was impossible to pronounce, but students called her Ms. Sphere today. We begin quantum probability. Ms. Sphere announced, her voice came from everywhere at once. Mathematics is the universal language. Let us see if our human student finds our methods familiar. Jake soon realized that alien math went far beyond what he had learned on Earth. The symbols floating in the air made his head hurt. The alien girls seemed to understand concepts that made no sense to him. 5 dimensions are the minimum needed for this equation. Ms. Sphere explained human mathematics typically works with 4 at most. Correct, Jake. Yes, Mom. Jake admitted feeling out of his depth again. Carol leaned over her copper skin, dimmed with sympathy. Don't worry, I can help, she whispered. Most of us have. Been studying quantum math since childhood. Jake smiled gratefully as Carol began explaining the strange symbols. Her explanation made the concepts clearer. Though Jake still struggled, he began to see patterns in the alien mathematics, EMS. Sphere floated. Over to their desks. Are you assisting our human student? Carol, yes, teacher. Carol replied, I am showing him the dimensional shortcuts, EMS. Sphere turned a pleased shade of purple. Excellent cultural exchange includes knowledge sharing. I see potential. In you, human. Your species approaches problems differently. This fresh perspective can be valuable. Jake felt a surge of pride. Maybe he could contribute something after all. The mathematics lesson continued with Carol, quietly helping Jake. When Ms. Sphere gave the class problems to solve, Jake worked with Carol, Alicia, and Beth as a team. Together, they completed the assignment. Jake contributing human insights that sometimes provided unexpected solutions. As mathematics class ended, Ms. Sphere assigned homework that made Jake's stomach sink. It looked impossible. We will help you. Alicia promised, her antennae twitching with determination. Perhaps at the library after final class. Jake nodded gratefully. Final class was advanced biology, focusing on alien life forms. Jake found himself fascinated by the incredible diversity of species in the galaxy. The teacher, a tall insectoid being with compound eyes, showed holographic images of creatures Jake had never imagined. Humanoid species like yours make up only about 20% of intelligent life in our galaxy, the teacher explained. Convergent evolution creates similar forms, but with fascinating variations. Jake learned about crystalline beings that communicated through light gas giants, that thought as collective clouds and microscopic hive minds that built massive bodies from millions of tiny organisms. The alien girls seemed equally interested in humans. Jake found himself explaining human diversity, skin colors, hair types, and height variations. You mean you all look different? Beth asked, spraying her scales with mist, her eyes wide with surprise. Very different, Jake confirmed. On Earth, we have many different cultures, languages, and appearances. The alien girls found this remarkable. Alicia explained that all members of her species looked nearly identical, with only subtle antenna patterns to tell them apart. Beth said her people varied only in scale patterns. Carol revealed that her copper-skinned species was completely uniform. In appearance, you are all the same, Jake asked, surprised. Much more uniform than humans, Carol confirmed, showing images of her world on her tablet. A planet of identical copper beings lived in perfect geometric cities. The insectoid teacher overheard their conversation. There is great variation between species, but often little variation within species. Humans are unusual in your diversity. This is neither advantage nor disadvantage, merely difference. After the final class, Jake followed Alicia, Carol, Beth, and Kate to the school library. It was nothing like libraries on Earth. This one was a vast dome with information floating in light patterns. Books were rare. Most knowledge was stored in crystal cubes that students accessed with special devices. The five of them found a quiet corner with comfortable chairs that adjusted to each species' body type. Jake was surprised when the chair molded perfectly to his human form. Now we help with quantum mathematics, Alicia declared, her antennae standing straight up with determination. For the next hour, the alien girls taught Jake, patiently explaining concepts in ways he could understand. Kate used her transparent body to demonstrate four-dimensional thinking. Beth created mist patterns to show probability clouds. Carol's metallic fingers traced equations in the air. Jake began to grasp the alien mathematics. His human perspective sometimes offered insights that surprised his new friends. You think in straight lines, Kate observed, with wonder. When we approach problems in curved thinking, Jake shrugged. Math is math. Humans just learned it differently. When they finished the homework, Jake felt a sense of accomplishment. The problems that had seemed impossible now made sense thanks to his alien friends. It is late cycle. Beth noted her scales dimming slightly with tiredness. The transport pods will depart soon. Jake checked his Earth watch, surprised by how much time had passed. He needed to return to the human embassy before dark. His father would be worried. The 5 students gathered their belongings and walked together toward the transport bay outside the school. Alien ships of various designs waited to take students to their homes or dormitories. Jake's pod was small and simple compared to the elegant vessels of the alien worlds before leaving. Jake turned to his new friends. "Thank you for helping me today. I was scared to come here, but you made me feel welcome." Alicia's antennae curled with pleasure. "Your presence is valuable, Jake from Earth. We learn from you as you learn from us. Tomorrow we have quantum physics," Kate said, her transparent skin glowing softly in the fading light of the twin suns. "Will you return?" Jake hesitated. The day had been overwhelming, full of strange experiences and moments of embarrassment, but also wonder, friendship, and discovery. "We want to learn about Earth customs." Alicia continued, her antennae twitching with excitement. "Beth says humans have something called jokes. Kate wants to know about your music." Behind her, the other alien girls watched him with curious eyes of various shapes and colors. None looked hostile, only interested. Jake smiled. "It might be worth returning just to see what happened next. I will be back," he promised. Alicia's skin glowed brighter with happiness. "Our class finds your human perspective valuable," she said. Kate and Beth nodded in agreement as Jake boarded the transport pod. He realized something surprising. The alien girls didn't find him strange because he was human. They found him fascinating. The difference mattered. When he arrived at the embassy, his father, a diplomat who had arranged the exchange program, waited anxiously. "How was it, son?" he asked. His face showed concern. "Did they treat you well?" Jake thought about the day, the fear, the embarrassment, but also the curiosity and kindness the alien girls had shown him. "It was amazing," Jake replied honestly. "I made friends." His father looked relieved. "I knew this program was important for human relations with the Federation, but I worried about sending you as our first student." Jake smiled. "I'm glad you did, Dad. I think I'm going to learn a lot and maybe teach them something too." Jake's second day at Celestial Academy began with more confidence than his first. He recognized the shifting corridors and floating lights that had seemed so strange yesterday. The alien students still stared, but now some nodded in greeting. Jake even attempted a few of the alien greetings he had learned, causing some older students to chirp with surprise. Jake found his classroom easily. The water door dissolved at his touch, and he stepped inside. Most of the alien girls were already there. Alicia waved her purple arms excitedly. Beth sprayed a greeting mist pattern. Carol's copper skin flickered with welcome patterns. "Jake," Alicia called, "we saved your seat." The humans arrived. Jake paused, confused. He was supposed to be the only human at the school. Then he saw what Alicia meant. On her desk sat 5 small potted plants, earth plants. "We asked Teacher Zorn for human specimens for biology study." Kate explained, her transparent organs shifting as she spoke. "We received these life forms," Jake laughed. "These are plants, not humans," he explained, sitting down. "They are alive but not intelligent." The alien girls looked disappointed. Their various eyes, antennae, and sensory organs showed confusion. "But they grow on your world," Carol said, her copper fingers gently touching a small fern. "They process your air. They are part of Earth ecosystem," Jake explained. "But not like people, Ems." Kalina entered the classroom, her blue skin shimmering, her silver hair flowing without wind. She noticed the plants immediately. "I see you have brought specimens from Earth," she said, approving. "Let our human explain their significance." For the next 20 minutes, Jake found himself teaching alien girls about Earth plants. He explained photosynthesis, seasons, flowers, and seeds. The alien students were fascinated, asking questions Jake had never considered. Do plants communicate? Beth wanted to know. Some do in their way. Jake said, remembering a science documentary. But not like we do. Do humans respect plant life? Alicia asked, her antennae curled with concern. Most of us try, Jake said, thinking about conservation efforts on Earth. But we haven't always been good caretakers. Kalina nodded. Earth, like many developing worlds, struggles with environmental balance, she observed. This is common in young species. Jake felt defensive. Earth was making progress with environmental protection. We are trying to do better now, he said firmly. Kalina's white eyes seemed to soften. Young species often damage their worlds before learning to protect them. The Federation has seen this pattern many times. Your efforts to improve show promise. Jake relaxed. Ms. Kalina wasn't criticizing Earth, just stating facts. The class moved on to study alien plant life forms. Jake learned about crystal, trees that grew on Beth's ocean world, floating gardens from Alicia's low-gravity planet, and the living metal plants of Carol's homeworld. After biology came cultural studies. Teacher Zorn's shadow form seemed less frightening today. His 6 red eyes focused on Jake. Did students complete their cultural exchange homework, he asked. Yes, teacher, the alien girls answered in various musical tones. Teacher Zorn's shadow tendrils gestured at Jake. You will go first, human. Show us one Earth. Custom Jake had. Prepared for this, he stood and cleared his throat. On Earth, we have a greeting called a high five, he explained. It shows friendship and celebration. Jake demonstrated the motion, slapping his own hand in the air. May I show you? Jake asked Alicia, who nodded eagerly. Jake held up his hand and showed Alicia how to slap her palm against his. The sound echoed in the classroom. Alicia's eyes widened. That felt strange but good, she said, her voice like wind chimes. Soon all the alien girls wanted to try. The classroom filled with the sound of high fives. Some girls had to be careful. Carol's metal hand could have hurt Jake, but she controlled her strength. Beth's scales left Jake's hand slightly damp. Kate's transparent hand felt like cool electricity even. Teacher Zorn seemed amused, his red eyes glowing brighter. An interesting custom, he noted. Violence transformed into friendship. What does this show about human nature? Jake had never thought about high fives that way. It was just something people did, maybe, that we can turn anything into something positive. Jake suggested. Teacher Zorn's shadow form rippled what might have been approval. Now students, show our human your customs. One by one, the alien girls demonstrated customs from their worlds. Alicia taught Jake a greeting hum that made his teeth vibrate. Beth showed a respect bow that involved specific finger positions. Kate demonstrated a friendship game with moving lights. Carol taught a metal working technique that created tiny art. When the class ended, Jake's head spun with new knowledge. Each custom revealed something about the alien cultures. Their values, beliefs, and histories showed in their traditions, just as Earth's did in human customs. Lunchtime brought new adventures. Jake sat with his alien friends, sampling their food cautiously. Ms. Kalina had assured him all Federation food was safe for humans, but some might taste strange. Alicia's glowing blue cubes tasted like sweet potatoes. Beth's liquid meal reminded Jake of seaweed smoothie. Kate offered clear drops that exploded with flavor in Jake's mouth. Carol shared metal flakes that dissolved like cotton candy. Jake offered his Earth lunch in return. The alien girls examined his sandwich, fruit, and cookies with scientific curiosity. This cookie thing is wonderful, Alicia declared after taking a tiny bite. Her antennae stood straight up with pleasure. The chemical composition is fascinating. Jake laughed. On Earth, cookies aren't science, they're just treats. Carol's copper face showed confusion. Your species creates food for pleasure, not nutrition. Sometimes both, Jake explained. The afternoon brought advanced technology class. Jake entered a laboratory filled with equipment he couldn't identify. The teacher was a robot, or perhaps a cybernetic being with multiple appendages and glowing circuits visible through transparent panels. Today we examine faster-than-light communication systems, the teacher announced in a precise mechanical voice. Our human guest may observe. As these concepts are beyond current Earth technology, Jake felt disappointed. He had hoped to participate. The alien girls noticed his reaction. You can work with me, Alicia offered. We will explain. The class involved building small devices that could supposedly send messages instantly across any distance. Jake watched as Alicia's delicate fingers assembled microscopic parts. Her antennae twitched with concentration as she worked. This technology allows Federation worlds to communicate despite vast distances, she explained. The quantum entanglement creates pathways through subspace. Jake tried to understand the principles seemed impossible, yet the alien girls built working devices right before his eyes. The technology teacher rolled over to their workstation, observing with glowing optical sensors. Human curiosity is valuable. The teacher stated, your species asks different questions. This leads to innovation. Would you like to attempt assembly? Jake nodded eagerly. Under Alicia's guidance, he helped connect components, following her instructions carefully. When they activated their device, a small holographic display appeared, showing a message from another team across the room. It works, Jake exclaimed. The teacher's circuits pulsed with what might have been approval. Earth will join the quantum network when your technology advances. Until then, observation builds foundation for future understanding. As Jake left the technology class, he felt a new sense of purpose. One day Earth would join these advanced worlds as equals. The knowledge he gained here would help humanity grow. After school, Jake's alien friends invited him to visit the recreation center, a crystal dome near the school housed games, sports, and social activities for students. Many alien species mingled there. Jake hesitated. I should return to the embassy, he said. My father expects me. Your father can be contacted. Beth suggested producing a small communication device. Your presence at recreation is valuable for cultural exchange. Jake smiled at her use of formal language but appreciated the invitation. He called his father, explaining he would be late. The diplomat seemed pleased that Jake was integrating with alien students. The recreation center amazed Jake. Games defied gravity and physics. Music created visual patterns in the air. Food and drinks changed colors as they were consumed. Alicia challenged Jake to a hovering board game that involved moving pieces with thought control. Jake lost spectacularly, causing musical laughter among watching students. You think too linearly for dimensional chess, Alicia explained, but the game reveals much about human cognition. Beth invited Jake to experience a virtual ocean from her homeworld. Jake found himself seemingly underwater, surrounded by incredible alien sea life. Without getting wet, Carol shared music from her world, sounds that seemed like metal instruments, created emotions Jake had never felt before. Kate introduced Jake to other alien students from different classes. Some looked even stranger than his classmates, but all showed the same curiosity about the human in their school. As the recreation period ended, Jake realized he had experienced more in 2 days than most humans would in a lifetime. He was not just attending alien school, he was becoming part of a galactic community. Your species will adapt well. Carol observed her copper skin glowing softly in the fading light. Humans learn quickly. Jake nodded, feeling proud to represent Earth. The universe was vast and strange, but perhaps friendship worked the same way everywhere, even between species. 2 weeks passed and Jake settled into life at Celestial Academy. Each day brought new wonders and challenges. His alien friends helped him navigate classes that sometimes seemed impossible. His human perspective occasionally provided insights that impressed even the teachers. Jake was no longer the strange human boy. He was just Jake, a student with different abilities and limitations like everyone else. One morning, Jake arrived at school to find the atmosphere changed. The normally calm corridors buzzed with excitement. Alien students clustered in groups, talking in various musical languages. The water door to Jake's classroom rippled with unusual patterns. What's happening? Jake asked as he joined Alicia, Beth, Carol, and Kate, the Federation Council. Visits today. Alicia explained, her antennae twitching with excitement. They evaluate the exchange program. You are the first test subject. Jake felt a weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He wasn't just a student, he was representing all of humanity. Kalina entered the classroom, her blue skin glowing brighter than usual, her silver hair moving more rapidly. Students, she announced, the Federation Council arrives soon. They wish to observe our human exchange. Student, please continue. Normal activities. The alien girls tried to act normal, but Jake could tell they were excited. Their various appendages twitched. Their skin colors shifted more rapidly than usual. Their movements seemed more deliberate. Jake whispered to Beth. Who exactly? Is the Federation Council. The ruling body, Beth explained, spraying a nervous mist pattern. They represent all member worlds. They decide which species join the Federation and which remain under observation. Jake swallowed hard. Earth's future might depend on his performance. No pressure moments later, the classroom door dissolved, revealing a procession of beings Jake had never seen before. They moved with dignity and purpose. Their forms varied wildly. One appeared to be living crystal. Another was a cloud of gas contained in a hovering sphere. A massive insectoid being clicked mandibles as it entered. Two humanoids with features so perfect they seemed unreal. Glided in behind them. At the center walked a being that seemed to shift between forms, never settling on one appearance. Beside this being floated Teacher Zorn, his shadow form somehow more substantial than usual. Students rise, Ms. Kalina ordered. The class stood immediately, including Jake. The shifting being approached, examining the classroom with what might have been eyes. Honored Council Ms. Kalina said, bowing deeply. We welcome you to Celestial Academy Cultural Exchange Program. The shifting being spoke its voice, changing tone and pitch with each word. This is the human. Student Jake stood straighter, trying to appear confident and respectful. Yes, honored one. Miss Kalina confirmed, this is Jake Miller of Earth. Our first exchange student. All the council members turned to study Jake. Their attention felt like physical pressure, the living crystal being sparkled with intense light. The gas cloud swirled faster. The insectoid clicked its mandibles. The perfect humanoids tilted their heads in identical movements. The shifting being moved closer to Jake. The air around it shimmered. With energy human, the being said, its voice now strangely gentle. What have you learned at our academy? Jake took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. I have learned about different species and cultures. He began. I have learned new sciences and technologies, but most importantly, I have learned that despite our differences, all intelligent beings share common values, friendship, curiosity, and respect. The council members made various sounds and movements. Jake couldn't interpret. The shifting being's form stabilized briefly, showing something almost human before flowing back to ambiguity. And what have you taught our students? The being asked. Jake hesitated. I have shared Earth customs and history. I have explained human biology and culture, he said. Then, with more confidence, I have shown a different way of thinking. Humans approach problems differently, sometimes finding solutions, others miss M's. Kalina stepped forward. The human perspective has indeed been valuable. She confirmed. Jake Miller has contributed significantly to class discussions. His linear thinking complements our curved approach, the insectoid being clicked rapidly. What of integration? Does the human adapt to our society? Alicia stood, her purple skin brightening. Jake is our friend? She declared. Her musical voice carried confidence. He plays our games, learns our ways, and teaches us his. Beth, Carol, and Kate stood as well, each adding their support. Jake's throat tightened with emotion. These alien girls had become true friends. The shifting being turned to Teacher Zorn. Your assessment, Shadow Teacher. Teacher Zorn's red eyes glowed brightly. The human student shows remarkable adaptability. His species has potential. Their unique evolutionary path creates both limitations and unexpected strengths. If this specimen represents Earth humans, then they will be valuable. Federation members. Jake could hardly believe what he was hearing. Teacher Zorn was supporting Earth's membership. The council members conferred in sounds and signals Jake couldn't understand. Finally, the shifting being addressed. Ms. Kalina, the experiment proceeds well. The human will continue his studies. A delegation of Earth students will join next cycle. Jake felt excitement build. Earth would send more students. The exchange program would grow as that acceptable human. The shifting being asked, turning its attention back to Jake. More than acceptable. Jake replied, I would be honored to help the next Earth students adjust. The perfect humanoid spoke for the first time there, voices identical and melodious. What would you tell your fellow humans about us? Jake considered carefully. I would tell them that the galaxy is more wonderful and strange than we ever imagined, that the differences between species matter less than what we share, that humanity has much to learn but also something to teach, the gas cloud being swirled in what might have been approval. Its voice emerged from a small device nearby. The human speaks with wisdom beyond its development stage. Promising. Council members prepared to leave, but the shifting being paused beside Jake. Your presence here is significant, human, it said. Its form briefly resembled Jake himself before shifting again. The path to Federation membership is long. Your species takes important first steps. Jake bowed respectfully. Thank you. Honored one. After the council departed, the classroom erupted in excitement. The alien girls surrounded Jake, chattering in musical tones. You impressed the council? Carol exclaimed, her copper skin flashing with bright patterns. This never happens. The High Counselor spoke directly to you, Beth added, spraying a celebration mist pattern. Do you understand what this means? Jake shook his head, still overwhelmed by the experience. It means, Alicia explained, her antennae curved forward. Earth will likely gain full Federation membership sooner than expected. Your performance accelerated the process. Emma's Kalina called for order, her white eyes showing what Jake now recognized as pride students. She announced, in honor of the Council's approval, there will be a cultural exchange festival next week. Each species will demonstrate their customs. Earth will be featured prominently. Jake, will you represent your world? Jake stood taller, feeling a sense of purpose and pride. Yes, Ms. Kalina, I would be honored. The next week passed in a blur of preparation. Jake contacted the Earth Embassy requesting materials for his presentation. His father, the diplomat, seemed amazed by the opportunity and arranged for Earth, foods, music, and art to be delivered to the school. Jake's alien friends helped him prepare his presentation. Each contributed ideas and assistance. The day of the festival arrived. Celestial Academy's crystal dome, filled with students, teachers, and dignitaries from various worlds. Displays representing 50 planets lined the walls. Food, music, art, and technology from across the galaxy created a stunning sensory experience. Jake's Earth display stood near the center. His father had outdone himself, sending a remarkable collection of human culture, books, music, instruments. Foods and art represented Earth's diversity. Jake wore traditional clothes from several Earth cultures, changing throughout the day to show human variation. The alien students crowded around the Earth display, fascinated by Jake's presentations. He demonstrated Earth dances, taught simple games, shared music, and offered Earth foods. The response overwhelmed him. Aliens of all forms expressed interest in human culture, asking questions Jake had never considered about things he took for granted. Alicia, Beth, Carol, Kate, and other classmates helped manage the crowds. Their own world's displays stood nearby, but they seemed prouder of Jake's success than their own. As the festival continued, Jake realized something profound had changed. He was no longer just observing alien cultures. He had become a bridge between worlds. His presence at the school wasn't just about his education, it was about humanity's future. That evening, as the festival concluded, Jake stood with his alien friends watching the twin suns set through the crystal dome. When I first came here, I was terrified, Jake admitted. Everything seemed so strange. I felt completely out of place. Alicia's antennae curled. With understanding, all new experiences create fear. She said, her musical voice gentle, but fear becomes wonder with time. We felt the same about you. Beth added, spraying a gentle mist pattern. A strange creature from an unknown world. Yet now you are simply Jake. Our friend Carol's copper skin glowed softly with emotion. Your differences make you valuable, not separate. Kate's transparent organs shifted as she placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. The galaxy grows stronger with each new perspective. Each species brings unique gifts,